All right, well, let's not waste any time. I don't think we do. We don't really do that. We don't really waste time at all. It's well packed. So today, welcome to the Master Teacher Tape Group. It's a real pleasure to start this today. It feels like, okay, this is the rejuvenation moment, to be fully fed with light, with love, with wow, incredible, what a beautiful provision here. So I'm happy to share that with you. And that has to do with the idea that there's nothing if anything is inherent in you, it is the idea of giving. So live to give and give to live is inexchangeable. Like, if you want to know who you really are, start giving. That's in fact the message of today. Start giving yourself away. Don't worry about how, what, no, just keep giving the best to everyone and everything, and ask for what that means, but start giving already. That's so beautiful, and that's so true. I cannot say anything else. I've heard this tape in the early 2000s. I think in the year 2000 I heard it for the first time, and not that means in that sense anything as an historic event or anything, no, but from that moment on something started with, okay, giving. I don't know how to do that. How can I give in this moment? How can I extend in this moment? Now the answers came, and that became like, wow, the awakening takes place in giving. That is really the thing. It's like you add everything. Yeah, you add yourself to it. You include yourself and being part of your giving and not taking anything for it. Giving is really what it is giving. And there's no receiving connected to it. That's not the reason to give. No, the giving is the action. And then giving is really the extension of your love into your dream, in fact. In whatever way that is presented to you, in whatever possibilities are given to you to do so. Not expecting anything back, just knowing that it starts with you. You're going to give to yourself. You're going to give literally light to this world until it becomes so bright and beautiful that things start to change, that people start to laugh instead of cry, and who knows what. Not that you do it for that, but it's just an inherent thing you start to discover, and that is totally beautiful. So today we start with a give meditation, and this is from the Gifts of God in the Urtext book. So I think it's book 4 or 5, and we're going to use that first before we do anything else. And I just reminded myself of the reason why we do this meditation. The reason why we are opening up before doing anything is, in fact, to enter into the sphere where things become real in your experience, where there's no personal involvement anymore, but a total openness. And you could say that is the best way to enjoy everything you do, no matter what it is. And enjoying is, you could reword that in the idea of being a total part of it, giving to it, enjoy it to the most. So here we go, we start with the meditation. How can you give? To him who has no lack, no need, no emptiness, no unlit place, which needs a light that you can offer him. He saves your gifts for you. He does not know of giving and receiving. What is love, or comes from love, or offers love as a gift, is one to him because it is of him. To him and from him are not different to one who has no opposites. What is love, or comes from love, or offers love a gift, is one to him because it is of him. To him and from him are not different to one who has no opposite. For love is all there is, and everything there is. A gift to love is given everyone, not lessening the giver, nor in truth adding to the receiver. More than love there cannot be, but this a gift becomes if it is truly given and received by both, to both, who know that they are one. A key to silence and the peace of God, a glad acknowledgement of love of Christ, a greeting to the Holy Spirit's help, an invitation that he enter in and lift the Son of God unto himself.
Les dons de Dieu. Comment pouvez-vous donner à celui qui ne connaît ni manque, ni besoin, ni vide, ni lieu sans lumière, qui ait besoin d'une lumière que vous puissiez lui offrir? Il vous réserve vos dons. Il ne connaît ni donner, ni recevoir. Ce qui est amour, ou vient de l'amour, ou offre un don à l'amour, est un pour lui, car cela vient de lui. À lui et de lui ne sont pas différents de celui qui n'a pas d'opposé, car l'amour est tout ce qu'il y a et tout ce qui existe. Un don d'amour est offert à chacun, sans diminuer celui qui donne, ni en vérité ajouter à celui qui reçoit. Il ne peut y avoir plus que l'amour. Mais ce don devient un don, s'il est véritablement donné et reçu par les deux, à tous deux qui savent qu'ils ne font qu'un. Une clé pour le silence et la paix de Dieu. Une reconnaissance joyeuse de l'amour du Christ, une salutation à l'aide du Saint-Esprit, une invitation à entrer et à élever le Fils de Dieu à lui.
So, continuing then with the preparation for the tape, Give to Live. And so it's like the give to live principle, you could say, is giving not to receive, no, giving, like the action of giving, the action of mind of giving. And this can be like, this is something that you learn to, in fact, take responsibility for what you are inspired to let flow through you in whatever way. It's really like what the miracle is. You let the inspiration flow through you in order to extend your love to someone, to start an action coming from lovely inspiration, or coming into an experience of love itself, feeling your connectedness to the universe and everything. It's like that. That is, in fact, the whole self-expression that we're talking about. But the part of taking responsibility for that by your recognition that this is an opportunity to give is immense, because that makes it flow. And the universe cannot flow its love without your part in it. So that's why this is so essential to really be clear about, or to come to know what it is, in order to, in fact, not necessarily do things, but more like allowing yourself to be inspired by the universe to lovely thought, action, giving, realization. Like, let that be the basis of what it really is moving you. Like this, it is something that moves you. But taking responsibility is doing that. You feel that you have to do that. Not as a force, or not as you have to do that, but more like you feel driven, you feel moved to do it, and you don't expect anything from it. No self-acknowledgement, no acknowledgement by others. There's no accomplishment embedded in it, or none of these things. You just know where you come from when you give. Now this is really what creation is, in the sense that it only adds to itself. And that's a real beauty, like that's what beauty is, in fact. So this, you see in the tape with Master Teacher, you come into, okay, so how does this go from a human way of giving? You can't believe giving everything away. That would be like, no, that's not a good idea. Wait a minute. Like immediately, if I ask you, okay, so in this moment, give me your credit card, I need it right now, then it is like, you would say like, well, whoa, wait a minute, what do you need it for? And this is like, no, the universe works different. It is like, not that I'm going to ask you that, but like the universe is giving you opportunities to give. Now here's if you think you're going to lose something, or that this is not part of the whole, then you miss actually the opportunity. Then you don't know what this is about. Or then you're still in exchange, thinking that you need to give something in order to get something. That's not giving. So the principle here is give everything away. Keep giving everything away. Not necessarily material, but also in that, like, don't be afraid. This is how everything is connected and flows. And there's a supply that's so abundant you wouldn't believe. And there's nothing lost by giving everything away. Speaking from deep experience, I did this many times, and I'm still in the action of doing that, in fact. Like continuously giving everything away. Like no hesitation to do so. And that's a beautiful practice, to come to see that the universe is in such an incredible harmony, in such abundance, that it goes literally beyond all human laws of economics, of health, of you name it. Like, it goes all beyond that, because this is literally coming to know how the universe works, how you in the universe are completely included and taken care of, sustained, everything. So the smallest hesitation in that is your loss. The smallest the smallest reservation or delay in that is what you feel. But the other way around, if you keep giving, you're not concerned with that. Literally, it takes away the concern about all of that, because there's a supply, and the supply is always abundant. If you allow that supply to be there, literally to do its thing, like it is, there's a provision, and that's, it's without end. It is what everything is. It is whole in itself, unto itself. It's all part of everything. So that's, coming into the practice of that, you see that you only give to yourself, and that the gifts are literally only for you, because God doesn't need them. It's like the universe in its totality, in its wholeness, doesn't need your gift. No, it is your part of it, and this is your opportunity to see that the universe only gives and God only gives. Like, it is that you come to know as yourself being a whole part of that, taking away every concern, every human concern that you can have about supply, that you can have about giving to your brother, reservations to give to your brother. No, that dissolves completely. If you recognize that you're giving to yourself, what would stop you from doing so? What could possibly be your consideration? So that's, in fact, the main line in the talk, which is a talk in two parts, part 1 and part 2, just because of it was a tape like this, like a little tape for 45 minutes. On the other side, 45 minutes. So that's why it's like 90 minutes. So we do only one side of the tape. We're going to listen to that later. I want to bring in like some expressions. I go through them pretty quick, because you will see them back in the talk. But this is just from the first 5 minutes, and really tell the story. Giving through self-expression. From Give to Live, Part 1, God's Country Place, Master Teacher. Now, the process of enlightenment, that is the process of coming to a whole mind and recognizing yourself as the universal consciousness, is a process of giving. Now, here, this sentence, of this expression, you could easily lose the content that it actually has, or the meaning that it actually has. Now, the process of enlightenment, that is the process of coming to a whole mind. A whole mind is not like a separate mind that is whole or something. Like, no, it comes to the recognition that it has a universal consciousness. It literally is whole. Literally, it only gives to itself. It is aware that it is in perfect communication with every part of itself. How would it not be if it's whole? So you don't want to read over that. I want to key in that word for a minute, because the nature of the Course in Miracles is a process of forgiving, which is an indication that this is all over, and that you've in fact have given before of yourself for giving. You give it already. You gave it already. If salvation then is the process of giving, okay, we'll use sentences like the only way to know that you have something is by giving it away. See, the only way that you know that you have something is by giving it away. Then you would know you would have it. So this is a very universal law. It's like, how do you know that you have? By giving it away. If I have received an idea, and that idea I can hold unto myself and say like, yeah, that's a great idea. Now, if I give it away, what happens when I give it away? You might receive it. You might let it accept this idea and let it become true to you too. So what happened then? I did not lose my idea. I didn't lose anything, but I became aware that I can give my idea and that I didn't lose it by sharing it. And my brother accepts the idea too and starts giving that idea away. And on and on and on. It's like, this is the recognition that in giving you're not going to lose anything. But in fact, it increases for you because you gave it away and recognized and confirmed it to yourself that literally this idea is yours. That's why it literally is like it increases in certainty within you. That's why we teach, demonstrate it, by letting it become part of ourselves and start to literally express it as self. As self-expression. Giving is a form, is self-expression. How do I know I'm one with God? If I keep that idea to myself, I would miss it. Now, if I recognize that by giving that to you, we come into communication, recognizing that our minds are one. Now that idea is given to me, and I accept that idea by just being open to come into communication and have this recognition. See, that there's nothing lost by it, but it's expanding. It's like it is a creative action in itself. Okay, so if salvation then is the process of giving, we'll use sentences like, the only way to know that you have something is by giving it away. That doesn't seem practical at all to a consciousness who is in a condition of reciprocity or exchange, does it? That doesn't seem practical. If I, in a material world, give something away, then I don't have it any longer. If I give my vacuum cleaner to the neighbors, I don't have a vacuum cleaner anymore. So that's, a human being doesn't understand this principle. But luckily you do, and you start to give this away. If I tell a consciousness coming here in God's country place to give everything away, or into this tape group meeting, if I tell a consciousness coming here to give everything away and to come to me, he is immediately in resistance of it because of his defense mechanism of having ideas in order to protect his identity. See, this is what a human being does. The beautiful thing, of course, is the example in the Bible of the rich guy. The rich guy coming to Jesus. This rich guy is like a total... He did A Course in Miracles so well, he literally did every lesson exactly as long as it should have been done, and did it exactly right, and did it every day exactly according to the instructions. Like this as example. He's doing everything perfect. He came to every Zoom meeting. He read every part. He prepared everything that he could do. Now here he comes to Jesus and says okay, so what's the next step? And because I did everything, I was at every Zoom class that you had. I was I read everything that you sent me by email or WhatsApp to me. I read it all. I did all of it. And so basically he's like, okay, I'm ready for the next step. Jesus, tell me about it. And then Jesus says, what you could do is this. Just give everything away and follow me. And then he heard it and he walked away. It's like, Nah, that doesn't sound too good. I just had my stocks. I just have new stocks. I just had my first billion. I'm not sure if I can do this. And there he goes. Never, never to be seen again. So this is like, okay, you hold on to something in order to protect your identity. Forget it. You're not gonna get this. The protection of ideas, money is ideas, for instance, or where do you place your value in your self-identity, as you describe yourself, holding on to that? You're not gonna get this. This is not for you. You can do everything right, but still you don't get it because you're protecting yourself against something. So and this is something that you have to learn, really, because you're not even aware that you're doing it. So if there's a question of, are you following me? Are you going to come with me? And give everything away and follow me. And just like the disciples starting to follow Jesus, whether they had a business, whether they had a fishing company, whether they had a family, whether they had anything, and they would follow. They said, yes, here we are. So that is in fact the only requirement. Are you willing to let go of your self-investment? Are you willing to let go of what you think is valuable in the ideas that you hold about yourself? Are you willing to give that up in any kind of way? And recognizing in all the ways that your self-identification is established in you. That's why we do the exercises. That's why you do the manual for teachers, but also the textbook. And also the exercises in the workbook. You do those to recognize where you are holding on to your self-identity, because it really does not matter whether that's just an idea, or whether that's a form, or whether that's a value, or whether that's who knows what. Like, that's all the same. Are you willing to release that idea in order to come to me? This is the question. If I'm saying to you, then from another level is true, it would be impossible. If what I'm saying to you then from another level is true, it would be impossible for you to know that you have everything until you gave everything away and you're in it. This is met with tremendous amount of resistance on this. It's like, this is just for now learning lessons. How are you learning lessons? How are you actually receiving this for yourself? Here Master Teacher says this, is like, how would you know that what I'm telling you is true if you didn't even try it? And that is really practical and really true. So like my first experience with giving everything away, literally, physically, that I had, brought me to a place, say from that moment on, I did not have to be concerned with material goods forever. Like, I've had no concern about that after that moment that happened. I gave everything away, and suddenly there's a provision coming to you as a star out of the sky, really, like this. It's like you cannot believe it, but you only can receive that by actually bringing this into practice. So this is literally an occurrence that was like an accomplished lesson in that sense for me. And then you see that everything that comes your way, like this star that falls out of the sky, everything that comes your way becomes truly a miracle, because you had nothing. Like, I give everything away, I have nothing. Now what? And there is a provision. There is provision. There is this provision. Like, you recognize that everything was given to you anyway. That it always is given to you. That there's no lack at all. But I could only find out by giving everything away, even in a material form. I gave everything away. Now everything starts to come to me, but this is not just say, a supply of material goods. No, this is a supply with a complete connection with the universe. Like, that is the difference. Literally, you become so grateful for the smallest thing because you had nothing, your hands were empty, you could say, and there's a provision. It's actually falling into place just fine. There's no problem with that. And everyone going through these experiences will have the same experience. Like, literally the only thing that you can lose is your concern about losing. Now that's huge, huh? That's huge. So I'm grateful for these lessons and how they present themselves. It's absolutely beautiful. I think we have a few more, and then we go to the audio. Yet you discover that no matter how much aid you provide him with the continuous... Yet you discover that no matter how much aid you provide him with he continues to become sick. We're here in a different part of the talk. This is like you recognize the pain of your brother. We've talked about that, say, a couple of days ago or something. It's like you recognize the pain of your brother. Yeah, this is you as a teacher of God. Like, what makes you a teacher of God? Well, you have seen that the pain of your brother is not has a connection with you, and like you are it is part of you. That's what you recognize as a teacher of God. You're not saying like, well, that's his problem, it's not my problem. No, you took him in, so to speak. Now in that you discover that however much help you give him, he still is sick, and still this happens, and still dies, and still, you know what, like all these things that are still happening. Now at the point that you have begun to examine the whole structure, because it's like, how does this work? I am aware that my brother is suffering. I want to give everything to him, but still it seems to stay the same. Now what are we going to do with that? Like, you're going to, like, basically what Master Teacher says here is like, now you're at that point you start to examine the whole structure. You say, no matter what I do, I can't relieve my pain, or most particularly the pain of my brother, because while I have been successful in providing abundance for my associates, I see that my brother still suffers. Now that's recognizable, isn't it? Quite literally, the closest that perceptual mind can get to creating is giving through self-expression. The higher the range of the giving, the more self-expression that goes on, because the consciousness in his giving no longer correlates himself with a limited identity and expresses a thought form outside of himself in relationship with the whole. In a very real way, then, this process of giving is one of coming to know yourself. So quite literally, the closest that perceptual mind, a human mind, can get to creating is giving through self-expression. The higher the range of the giving, the more self-expression that goes on, because the consciousness in his giving no longer correlates himself with a limited identity and expresses a thought form outside of himself in relationship with the whole truth. In a very real way, then this process of giving is one of coming to know yourself. Now, this was the part that I wanted to end, because like this is the basic idea behind it. And like, as a human being, you love to give. Okay, great, wonderful, you start doing that. But there's like levels of giving, you could say. There's a realization connected to it, that literally you start to wake up through giving, that you see that now it matters what you give and how you give it and where that comes from. Now you start to connect with Source within. You start to listen to the Holy Spirit and follow the instructions to give. You invite the giving possibility. You invite it into the moments that you are in situations, for instance, or like any time that you don't know how to give to it, you ask for it. Now this becomes a high form of giving in that sense, is that you recognize that in fact you're a miracle worker at that point, because you don't know how to give in this situation. You have been in this situation many times, but now you come to the point where you actually start to ask for help. It's like, show me how to give in this situation. Because recognizing that what I experience as lack or limitation in the situation is what I did not give to it. Now that does not mean that you know what to give to it in order to make it whole, but you want to be inspired to do so. Now this is exactly what this is about. And that becomes in itself your awakening, because literally the moment that you receive help and actually start to express that from yourself, you see that the situation becomes whole by coming into an experience of connectedness, by coming into an experience of your wholeness, of communicating with the universe. Just as I said, like, give everything away. And now when anything is coming to you in some kind of way, you recognize that doesn't come from just somewhere. No, it is literally your brother giving it to you. Like, he holds the key to your freedom. He brings you home. And this is in fact a recognition of true forgiveness, of taking your brother, of letting yourself be taken home by your brother, by recognizing he's one with you, and seeing that you can only give to yourself. So great. So let's listen to part 1 of Give to Live, and thank you so far. Thank you so much.
Oh, we begin once again with ramblings in the kitchen at God's country place. Perhaps this will be a tape, perhaps not, but I call it rambling in the light. It's important that you understand that everything that I say is coming from a particular frame of reference, and sometimes I forget how very fundamental what the directions of an awakened mind are. How very fundamental, for example, the teachings of Jesus Christ in the Course in Miracles are. They're much, much too fundamental to be accepted or even finally admitted to by a split mind. Okay. Now, the process of enlightenment, that is the process of coming to a whole mind and recognizing yourself as universal consciousness, is a process of giving. I want to key on that word for a minute, because the nature of the Course in Miracles is a process of forgiving, which is an indication that this is all over and that you've in fact given before of yourself. Okay. If salvation then is the process of giving, okay, we'll use sentences like, the only way to know that you have something is by giving it away. That doesn't seem practical at all to a consciousness who is in a condition of reciprocity or exchange, does it? Okay. If I tell a consciousness coming here to give everything away and come to me, he is immediately in resistance of it because of his defense mechanism of having ideas in order to protect his identity. Well, he's willing to give me in concepts the notation that, for example, charity or Christian love is the sharing of God. My declaration that the only way you can know God is to give love completely is very difficult for him, because it involves a relinquishment of himself. Mm-hmm. The clash that occurs between the so-called first covenant, I'll stay in Christianity for just a moment here. The clash that occurs with first covenant consciousnesses, that is, an eye for an eye, or reciprocity, or the establishment of laws on earth, and thou shalt not kill, all of those admonitions always occur with the process of giving rather than receiving. Or giving with the idea of receiving, which is an indication of what? Lack or need for substance or need to exist. Listen how fundamental this is. If what I am saying to you then from another level is true, it would be impossible for you to know that you have everything until you gave everything away. And this is met with a tremendous amount of resistance on this, in this Hades, in this shades, in this dream of reality, this dream of pain and death, which perforce makes you continue to demand recognition within the framework of yourself. Okay. The notations of experience, of enlightenment through service will come to you at a very high range, and those of you who come to me have obviously attempted to practice charity. Okay. This is a very simple process. You have felt the pain of your brother. You have attempted to give aid to your brother. Okay. And share with him the abundance that you feel in your own heart. Yet you discover that no matter how much aid you provide him with, he continues to become sick and to die. Now, at that point, you have begun to examine the whole structure. You say, no matter what I do, I can't relieve my pain, or most particularly the pain of my brother. Because while I have been successful in providing abundance for my associates, I see that my brother still suffers. I want you to see how fundamental this is. I will therefore send all of these packages of goods. I'm Joseph in Egypt. I hate to use that reference. I'm going to gather up all these packages and goods and give them to my brother, and thereby assuage the guilt feelings that I have in association with my abundance and his lack. And it would appear at this point that I'm doing a very charitable thing, and indeed I am. Now, to those of you who have been charitable and still are feeling the excruciating pain of your brother and your inability to deal with the apparent chaos and death, these are the consciousnesses that will begin to hear what I teach. Okay. Here's the declaration. If indeed there are such things as sickness and pain that you see about you, they can never be healed. I say that to you in the highest sense of truth. This has nothing to do with your attempts to do it. Of course you'll attempt to do it. The whole progress that occurs in the mind is your attempt to give yourself and hold on to yourself at the same time. To have ideas of associations of what you are and to base your identity on giving. Now, you'll run into sentences in the Christian tradition like, and they're debated forever. Good works avail you nothing. Okay, that's an indication that no matter what you give away, as long as you take credit for it, you can't know that you are divine, because you will retain the idea of reciprocity. And I'm well aware of that. I'm going to turn that around just a little bit for you. I'm going to say, good works will avail you everything if they're completely good. That is, if you do only good works, you'll have no problem. The problem you have is your attempt to sort out what constitutes works and what constitutes being or selfness. I maintain that works and being are not separate, because the cause of your thought will be the effect of what you are, regardless of what you say. Did I jump in too deeply there? I guess I did. I didn't mean to go that deep with it. Now, if you're going to teach the finality of your certainty, I'd say of the Course in Miracles, which nobody really wants to practice, let's try it. Okay. The reason that you forgive is that you can only give to yourself. Okay. Quite literally, the constructions that you have outside of you are your own pain. Okay, this is the little step for you now. You cannot know that they are yours until you give them everything. Jesus calls this brotherhood and love. You literally can't know who they are until you give them everything that you are. There is going to be no such thing in your teachings as reciprocity. Now, the consciousness that has practiced reciprocity and gathered abundance about him in his own relationships, will resist you at a very high level because his definition of love is one of exchange. Your definition of love is one of giving. He cannot understand the uncompromising attitude of an awakened mind with the certainty that you can only give to be. Quite literally, the closest that perceptual mind can get to creating is giving through self-expression. The higher the range of the giving, the more self-expression that goes on, because the consciousness in his giving no longer correlates himself with a limited identity and expresses a thought form outside of himself in relationship with the whole truth. In a very real way, then, this process of giving is one of coming to know yourself. The basis of the teaching, obviously, then, is to take no credit for your giving, but to only love and serve. When we have attempted to do this, there's a great deal of resistance here because the associations of success and happiness are based on having rather than being. I'm very much aware of that. What you finally do with that in your own mind, I don't know, but I guarantee you that once you begin to experience the joy of giving, it will become very intense in you, and you will literally want to give everything that you have away in order to be free. It's going to become very obvious to you early morning here. We're going to come back in just a second. There's a couple of the brothers are coming in. We're talking about giving here at God's Country Place. Now we're back here. Then the process of coming to know yourself has to be giving yourself away. There is no alternative to that because you cannot know that you have everything. Okay? You cannot know that you have everything until you give it away, because having and being are the same. As long as you're possessed by your own thoughts, you cannot know that. I don't know who takes Master Jesus' sentences in the text where he says, protect everything you value by the act of giving it away. Notice he says act. Okay? It's an act to shun yourself of these so-called necessities. And you say, well, Master, it sounds like you're teaching frugality here, like you're teaching poor in spirit, like you're teaching blessed are the meek. Well, I am. You don't like that out there. I don't care. As long as you have what Jesus called the grandiosity ideas that you're accomplishing something, you're not going to get this, teacher. Okay? This is a process of love and forgiveness and giving. You want to examine the uncompromising statement that you will be possessed by your own thoughts and condemned to stay in time and die as long as you have ideas about yourself. Come on. This is my teaching. This is my declaration to you. Try not to attack me when I give this to you, though. There's no need for you to attack love. Master Jesus says, why do you attack love and beauty and truth when it's presented to you? We're really, and if you take that off, Lana, that's okay. We're sitting here in the kitchen at God's Country Place, and there's a kettle on the stove. It's boiling. Much like's happening to you now. You're beginning to feel the fervent response of your mind in regard to this plaintive message, aren't you? It doesn't seem possible that you could actually undergo the experience of relinquishment and feel the joy of creation because the residual of the earth shows no evidence of it. The evidence of total giving is not here because the evidence of total giving is salvation in heaven. You might look at that very plaintively, that as long as the exchange is occurring, okay, there is no reality here. This is my declaration to you. In that sense, this is a process of bringing your mind together, bringing your perceptual mind together, okay, through an evolution, through a metamorphosis. And this is the indication of transformation. And that's really what's happening to you. Be of good cheer. Now, it appears because you are in the nature of expecting a response between your cause and effects, that when you give something in what you think of as love, okay, but the response is not as immediate, and the higher the range of your total giving, the less response you give, and the response you get. And that's absolutely true. Remember that you are accustomed to getting in return something for the act of your thoughts about giving. Now, as long as you expect, let's go to what the Course in Miracles really teaches. As long as you are in expectation of return for love, the miracle cannot occur. You are limiting simply by the framework of the expectation of the result for the act thought that's going on from you. The whole idea of the miracle, then, is to simply extend your love through the non-identity of yourself and your limited associations. We are teaching directly now, teachers, from the workbook of the Course in Miracles. The certainty that you do not know who you are, and the application of your determination to hold on to something, even though you don't know what you are or how you got here, are what are condemning you to time and death. See how easy it is? That's very simple then for you to do that. We're at God's Country Place talking about the uncompromising certainty that life, universal consciousness, is singular and whole and beautiful and has nothing to do with your determination to hold on to your limited self. We'll be back in a minute. All right, let's deal with that just for a moment, because it just came up in our discussion here at the table. In our original teachings, we used to try to present you with the statement, relinquish yourself, blessed are the meek, and blessed are the poor in spirit, and the Beatitudes, with very important statements, literal statements like, it's impossible for you to be unjustly treated. Okay. This is the statement that the protection of your limited association about yourself is a denial of God. Okay? That there really is no pain and grief outside of your thought about it. And that practice used to be one of being humble. But in this universal consciousness of split mind on earth, the idea of humility and giving and sharing is not very popular. Now, if we come at it from the other direction, we attempt to give you, within your own mind, all of the power that there is in the universe. This is called giving you a choice. This is a teaching device now. This has nothing to do with truth, brothers. Okay. Very early in the text of the Course in Miracles, Master Jesus says we are dealing literally with an impossible situation, which is what perception is. That is the idea that you can choose reality, and of course you can't. The mechanism of choice, however, is necessary since you have invented it in your time association, so of course we're going to use it. My teaching has nothing to do with choice. My teaching has to do with using choice to see that you have no choice. Now, as we indicated a little earlier on the tape, the sooner you realize, okay, that you really have no choice except to be whole and in heaven and be singular, until you come to know that, you will continue to practice the notation of choice. And you say, well, teacher, it sounds like you're teaching give up. I see in here notations of turning your will, perhaps, in your life and everything that you have over to the care of a power that's not definable. Of course, that's what did you think, my teacher? Did you think that I was going to tell you that perceptual mind could arrive at the conclusion of wholeness? Come on. Perceptual mind is the antithesis of wholeness. It's exactly the opposite. The world is exactly the opposite. And you cannot come to know that except by going through a process of relinquishment or giving. And finally, you simply command your spirit. All of the pain and sorrow that you feel forever and always have been, the idea of self-identity in the association with the true identity of yourself, that is, in God. All of the Gethsemanes, all of the dark nights of the soul are only your attempts to combat yourself in relationship with your own mind. They are nothing but that. Now, is this a gradual process? Can you come? And you'll hear these terms expressed. What you're saying then is that I must experience a bottom. Okay, have you ever heard that expression out there? Where finally I'm teaching you the futility of existence on earth. And in that sense, I am teaching that. But remember, you're not a measure of the process of your own give-upness. Okay? At what point do you recoup and regroup in your determination to continue to express your own self-will rather than simply doing this? These are the teachings, obviously, of the recovery program of Alcoholics Anonymous, or in fact the recovery program of all initiation consciousnesses coming from split mind to whole mind. Those of you who hear this tape program, we're going to give a talk on the addictive programs in association with the Course or wholeness. It's the same teaching. But remember that the teachings of the 12 steps have really nothing to do with the idea of addiction, particular to alcoholism. They are teachings of the relinquishment of limited mind to coming to whole mind. They're literally it's a process of spiritual enlightenment, nothing but that. Now, those of you who have had the experience of overcoming an addiction through the release of your mind are well along the way to the idea that through the process of giving up, that there is indeed a power that is self-evident to you behind that veil of deception and resentment that you have put up to keep you from seeing your own godliness and your own reality. Now, in that sense, the relinquishment of ideas about yourself is only the relinquishment of what? Resentments. Jesus calls them grievances. Very simply, if you are a conglomerate of grievances or ideas of combat in association with yourself, you bring them from your past frame of reference, and base your reality on the grievance or the possibility that you can be harmed. Now, here's where the valuable psychology that you can only cause pain to yourself. All pain is self-inflicted. You do this but to yourself, regardless of how tempted you are to believe there's something out there causing you a problem. See how you do this? See how you can practice this? These are true statements. How does this work? This works simply because you are making an admission that you are the cause of it. So you are bringing the solution to your apparent problem to where it can be resolved. Obviously, if the problem is outside of you, if you have a grievance against your brother, you hold him responsible for your actions. Okay? You respond to him then by attacking or defending yourself from him. Do you see how fundamental this is? Remember I said at the beginning of the tape how very basic this is? I'm looking you right in the eye now. I'm looking at your other eye here, at your Holy Spirit eye. And I am proclaiming to you to don't be defensive in your own mind relationships, and you will feel the miracle of the transformation that will occur in you. What an incredibly beautiful thing that is. You see, but you see how basic we are? I'm telling you to give up your grievances. Because the rest of the world bases its perceptual reality on attack and defense doesn't mean that you should, because until you overcome it, they can't. Would you care to hear that as the final part of this talk this morning? Okay. The basis of the teachings of subjective reality indicate to you that this is your world. Okay. No matter how tempted you are to think that there's something outside of your dream about it, there isn't. You are the cause of this. This will give you a real good feeling if you're ready to look at it. The first feeling you'll have when you look at this is kind of fearful. You go, holy mackerel. You mean this is between me and the rest of the universe? And I say, yeah. It has nothing to do with the images that you have constructed to hold mutual grievances outside of you. That is to commiserate with your own death process. No. Now, you'll like that. Why? Because it's individual transformation, and indeed the transformation is individual and singular. Now we're into teaching initiation. We want to show you that you can actually go through a process in your own mind where you change the world. This is a declaration of Master Jesus that you are the Savior of the world, but why should that be such a big deal if you constructed the world? If you'll look at what you've constructed, and I'm talking about the whole world, and are determined to change your mind about it, it will be changed. Remember that the world was constructed outside of the framework of reality, and your relinquishment of it then is necessarily a part. A nice way to teach it with Master Anna, who will be out to see you in California, perhaps Master Rose, Master Carlos, one of the teachers, will direct you to include all of your thoughts in, okay, with your conceptual evaluation rather than exclude. This is forgiveness at its highest level. You literally examine your own guilt and death processes in association with yourself. You don't bury anything. Okay? This is not different than the 12-step program with the indications of the 4th and 5th step that commands you to seek forgiveness through the acknowledgement of guilt. I have no problem with that. If you want to seek to give forgiveness through the acknowledgement of guilt, you acknowledge that you're guilty and I'll forgive you. The process is one of you accepting my forgiveness. That's how simple this is. Okay? This will be fun for you as the brothers come together and you practice this changing of your mind. And we want to assure you that it involves more than just your perceptions and conceptions of yourself. It must involve all of you. And that's fearful to you. You would much rather take, for example, your ideas of the mind and separate them from the emotions of your heart. But I promise you that an emotion is an idea. I assure you that you can only be and cannot have ideas, and indeed cannot have emotions. You cannot have love. You love your brother through service and giving to him, don't you? Finally, the bridge to total love is one of communication. If I am not threatened by my previous thoughts about you, I extend to you the certainty that I have created you in my own whole mind. Okay? Disassociation or a break in communication is all that the schism ever was. It has nothing to do with the fractured parts that you attempt to bring together then in associations of your own limited reality today. Hey, I love you. I'll do anything in the universe for you because you are in my mind as whole things and you have instructed me within this framework of time to come to you from super time. This is a course in speeding up time and remind you that indeed we are reminiscing about this and that you and I never left heaven. We'll be back. Thank you. We're back just for a moment. Here then is the crux of the whole teaching, the relinquishment of self-identity. When I speak to you on these tapes as what we must term a whole mind, what I'm saying is this. No matter what you present me with, and this will be true of all healed teachers, Jesus called them, okay, I will indicate to you that there is a single problem and a single solution. Okay. When you bring me particular problems within the brotherhood and I express them as singular, you have a tendency to interpret them dualistically in the framework of the problems that you are experiencing within your own time framework. The solution, obviously, is on this tape, is the total forgiveness of the grievance that you hold against your brother. But remember that judgment is a grievance, isn't it? Judgment is the idea that there could possibly be associate relationships of pain or lack, okay, within the framework of reality, and there can't be. Quite literally then, if you come to a whole mind, he attempts to teach you, don't judge. All right. Now, I may present that to you in numerous ways. I may say to you, if you judge me, you're wrong, and everything that I say is wrong, and I have no value in what I'm saying. I'm very certain that that's true. Okay. Because I'm teaching, give no value to your perceptions here. Yeah, I'm teaching you to relinquish your notations about me and only love. This is the whole sense of the Course teachings. All whole minds will do this. Why? They are very certain that within any mechanism of teaching there can only be one problem and one solution. No matter what you as an ego or personality brought to me, I know you're not so. This is my highest teaching, because the earth is not so. You can present me with all of the dilemmas of your associate thoughts and they'll have no effect on me at all. That may be excruciating to you, but the more you can see the constancy, which is as close to honesty as you can get, of a whole mind teacher, the more, if you are determined to find it, you will seek him out. And this is what we're attempting to bring about. Then by that association, you undergo this transformation of your mind. This is a very high teaching. And that's what's occurring around the world. Why? Because this is a required course. This is a course in enlightenment. I look at the definitions that consciousness has applied to what the Course in Miracles is, like a set of books. That's nonsense. The Course in Miracles is a simple course in the maturation of your mind to the certainty of singular wholeness. If you begin to look at it that way, you'll feel the excitement of the way out of chaos and death that are here by the declaration that I give you now. There is no death. Okay. There has to be an alternative to the construct of your mind. And through the relinquishment of that content, you can come to know the truth. Through love and forgiveness and giving, through detachment, through non-possession. The more you do it, the freer you'll be. The less you possess, the freer you'll be. You won't care about the possessions of your other brothers because you see that that possession is binding them to death, holding them in time by their associations in their minds. Wow, you can hardly wait to give it away. You'll go through periods in this maturation where you'll be in direct conflict with the world simply because you don't want to possess. And you'll be attacked for not possessing, but it won't bother you really. Because what? You'll begin to experience the freedom of being rather than having to hold on and literally construct sickness and death in order to verify yourself. Swear not to die, you holy Son of God. We keep coming back to that time. You've invented death as a protective mechanism to keep your own identity. And death is only grievance or thinking that something can harm you outside yourself. For if you think it will and can, it will and can. We'll see you soon. I put that on this tape. This is a tape of love and giving. But finally, my teaching is there's no reason for this world because there's no reason for pain and sickness and death, right? Okay. But the idea that there's no reason for this world eliminates the necessity for you to be here. This is the paradox. This is the cusp. This is the dilemma of trying to teach at this level. In a very real way, then, though I give you choice, I assert that you have no choice and are only whole and beautiful and true and loving. Okay. When expressed in psychology, this becomes unmotivated action. Master Jesus says you never do things for the reasons that you say you do. This is literally true. And if you'll give up reasons for doing things, you will come into a whole new sense of your own reality. Then the miracle, and this was the teachings of this other tape that you have, the miracle of lesson, of the text of 28, lesson 170, will come home, because if you don't motivate your mind, your whole mind will assert automatically, because you are indeed whole-mindedness. I know I came back into don't plan for the future, and what? Don't lay up stores. Don't plan to die. And this day you don't like this. Give up your possessions and you can't die. As long as you possess, you must die. Because possession or having is what death is. Are you listening to this? No? All All of the teachings of the new covenant of Jesus indicate only, okay, don't plan, don't lay up stores. Let God be what He is. Don't judge Him. Huh? Isn't it nice? You're not attacking me too violently when I teach this anymore, are you? Okay. Remember that 2,000 years ago, as Master Jesus walked into the temple and taught this, He was immediately crucified. Today, the teachings that Jesus says in the Course is you crucify the Christ every day by denying the certainty of your own reality through the exclamation of the possibility of this grievance of pain and death that we speak of. That's what perceptual mind is. When you go to teach this, you're going to end up with some pretty hard statements, aren't you? Statements like you're either for me or you're against me. You don't like that. You're going to end up with statements like you're either Christ or Antichrist. You're going to end up with statements like the world of perception is attack on God. And that's all right, because finally we want consciousnesses looking at themselves and the individual association with themselves. And in that sense, it doesn't have to do with how many images or groups they gather about themselves to verify this excursion that they pretend to be on. So, wake up. Feel this lovely flow of truth that is engulfing you now. Come to know who you really are. We'll see you soon. We hope we'll see you soon. Brothers are moving around the world now teaching this high message. And those who are ready to hear them, or are at least determined to listen, are calling, and their calls will be answered. We'll see you soon. And finally, on this tape, perhaps the magnitude of this teaching is dawning on you, that through the process of relinquishment of opinion and judgment, you formulate around you an energy of non-defensiveness, of freedom, okay? Where you stay in this perceptual bondage just for another moment, and then the earth is gone, isn't it? It's a hatching out. You become free, okay? You literally step out of time, okay, into eternity. And this is what I'm presenting to you, that this can come about in you, and it will make you very happy. And all of the pain and frustration that you're feeling because of your associations with sickness and death and hatred and love and truth and beauty will disappear, and you'll become only love. These determinations of yours to formulate notations of time and death and attack with wholeness and love will begin to be very absurd to you. You're looking directly now at why is it that the things that you love leave you? Why is it that if there is truth and happiness, no matter what you do, you can't find it here? Why is all of the intensity of your necessity to express yourself in truth and beauty dashed by the necessity of cancer and heart attacks, pain, sickness? Come on, brother. Our whole notation is that this is not so, that this is indeed a dream of death and chaos, and that all around you is the beauty and light of whole consciousness and love. This is all I'm really presenting to you. And you will hear it because you did hear it. This was over a long time ago. You're coming to see that now. We hope that you'll contact us. We're very small. It's just beginning. And you are a vital part of it finally, aren't you? In fact, it can't be done without you, can it? Without you, there is no heaven. Isn't that amazing? Without you, there is no earth. Take your choice. We'll see you soon. Let's have just a moment of quiet together here. You can see the light. You are not a body, you are free. You are still as God created you. Be free. I want to make one final observation on this tape. We're aware that you're listening to these tapes in your own particular environs and experiences, whether in a group or individually, and it's very important that you hear this. Don't belittle your own enlightenment process. Okay, our whole teaching is that this is a metamorphosis occurring in you individually. It has nothing to do with the consciousnesses around you, or in fact even the expression of the associate ideas of what's happening. So if you feel this intense pressure now to contact us, you do that, and there's a number on this tape, or you know where this came from. And if you have this necessity now to seek and find, that's what we're here for. We serve that purpose and none other. So don't believe that because we were saying this that we're some sort of an establishment, because we're not. We are teaching to your whole mind within your dream framework individually. But we are teaching at the light source so that you can see the truth of you. We are not an establishment. Okay? We are making a statement of a whole single truth that is you. So welcome home. We hope we will see you physically, and that you can come in this declaration of your newfound mind. Huh? Of course. Give it away. Be possessed. You are free. Some of you are feeling this directly now. It's very lovely. See? The light. Oh, very beautiful. Stay with us now. We're with you forever and ever.
So thank you so much for joining today in this wonderful tape. It's like everything is in there. It's complete with all kinds of like really gentle invitations to come to experience. So that's what I love about it. And it seems to be over continuously. Like, oh, that's gone, that's gone. Is the tape over? Oh yeah, tape is over. Now it starts again. Tape is over. Now it starts again. I love it. I just love it. So thank you so much for the Master Teacher Tape Group, that we can enjoy these individually in recognition of our oneness with each other, from coming from our whole-mindedness, in the recognition that our mind is whole and that it functions perfectly. And so yeah, that's an amazing thing even to celebrate together. So thank you for that, for being a total part of that, not just a little bit, totally. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you for everything. Bye for now.